you're getting married. Wow, that's great. Congratulations. You're getting married. So, what's up, everybody? Wilson Live. I am DJ Anthony, your host. And don't listen to me because I don't know anything. Always check with your healthcare professionals and your legal professionals and all the professionals. I'm just a dude talking to you. Oh, okay. So, it's marriage season. It's wedding season, everybody. So, you're getting married. Here's my advice for you. Okay. Uh, so I do know a little bit about marriage because I'm a DJ. I've DJ'd, I don't even know. I've been DJing for 31 years. I've done countless weddings. Okay, DJ countless weddings, and I've also been married. So I'm divorced, but and I have friends, I have acquaintances, I have strangers that I know. We always talk about marriage, So marriage is a relationship by any means, right? So, my advice for you, if you're getting married, okay, I have the scientific notes right here. Okay, number one, you got to take it serious. I think in America, we romanticize relationships. We romanticize, especially marriage or dating or relationships. We romanticize it. We watch too many movies and we project. We project onto the other, or we project a situation. I'm going to be married and have a house and children, and it's going to be happy and guys do that. Okay, guys do that. Guys might not say that, but that's how they feel. Like, hey, marry, have a family, start a family. Yeah, it'd be nice, start a family. Come home, hey, work, come home, have a nice wife, partner. Yeah, start a family. Which is the same thing as I'm gonna get married and have kids, and they're gonna love. Everything's gonna be great. That's the same thing. So that's great. So I'm gonna give you the bad news first, and then we're going to give you the good news. So the bad news is, would you get into a car that had a 50% chance of blowing up? No, you would not. You would not get into a car that had a 50% chance of blowing up. Well, that's marriage. 50% of marriages end in divorce. Maybe it's 49%. Maybe it's 51%. Maybe, whatever. We'll call it 50. 50%. You have a 50% chance of failure. But not you. No, not you. You're not gonna. Yours is gonna be perfect. Okay, so 50% chance of divorce. Now, you think the other 50% that stay married, you think they're perfectly happy? You're looking at about 10% of people that are really happy being married after 10 years. Because if you say, "Oh, my friend, they're married, they're very happy," my question to you is, well, how long have they been married for? Well, they've been married for like 3 years. Yeah, talk to me when you get past the 10-year mark, because the 10-year mark is when divorces start. So again, very easy to be happily married after year one or day one. God, if you can't be married happily in 1 or 2 years after your wedding, then shit. But most people are going to be, they call it the honeymoon period, right? So you are, again, it's easy to be happily married again year one. So the question is, are you happily married after 10 years? Okay, and most people succumb to divorce at that point. And again, the people who stay married, are they really happy? Again, I would say about 10% are really happy after 10 years, which is not good. And that's not my opinion. Go look it up. So, I would say also dating. You could say, well, I've been dating her. I've been dating him forever. What's forever? What's that? Yeah, like a year. Oh, okay. Like 2 years. Well, no, you haven't been with that person for a year or 2 years. A year is 365 days. 2 years is 365 times 2, that's too much math for me to do, but it's what? That's got to be over 1,000 days, right? So you have not been with that person. Let's just take a year. You have not been dating that person for a year. You've been dating that person for, you see him on Fridays and Saturdays, maybe Sundays. Let's just say it's 3 days a week, probably less than that, but let's just say it's 3 days a week. That's not a year. 3 times 52, what is that? 106 or something like that? It's a little over 100. So you've been dating them a little over 100 days. not 365 days. So you really don't know the person. And we're going to get to that, knowing the person. And you can talk about, well, we talked about everything. It's not the same thing as actually living it and going through it. So, yeah. The other thing I would say is um, marriage is serious. You really do have to take it seriously. Um, just because a church or a synagogue or a mosque will marry you, that's actually not a good thing. They really should say you have to date. How long does it take to become a preschool teacher? It takes 4 years. Well, now certainly marriage is as important and serious as being a preschool teacher, no? So then you should date at least 4 years. You have to go through ups and downs and seasons with the person. You have to see them at their worst. It's easy to see people at their best, but how are you guys going to handle an argument? How are you going to handle money problems? How are you going to? So you're going to see this through dating. You don't get that from a year. How are you going to handle each other's families? So again, you don't get that from a year. Everybody's on their best behavior, and everyone's, you know, you're full of sex and lust, or you're full of affection. You maybe not having sex, whatever, but you're full. You only see each other, again, a couple days a week, and then the rest of the time you're not with that person. So something to think about there. So if it takes a person 4 years of intense training to become a preschool teacher, certainly marriage is as serious as being a preschool teacher. No, should take 4 years of dating. You do 4 years of dating, the odds are you're gonna find out if that person's for you or not. The other thing you got to consider is family. You know the old saying, "You're marrying the family." Well, you are, especially if they live within 20 minutes of you. If they're overseas and you're never going to see them, big deal. But yeah, if he's got a family and you got a family, and I don't know, how domineering and how into their mommy and daddy are they, and how do you get along with them? Big one, money. I don't know. You're making good money now, but what do you do for a living? What do you do? What does he do or she do? Do you have marketable skills? Because, oh yeah, we're making so much money now. Yeah, you're making money now. I don't know what's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Do you have that training, either trade school training or college training that you can, because if you're a philosophy major, guess what? You're not going to make good money in 5 years, So, but if you're like electrical engineer and your spouse is a nurse, yeah, you know what? You're good. You're going to make money. You're going to be good. So yeah, talk about money, right? Money's the number one reason for divorce, by the way. The other thing is debt. Do you know about the debt of your fiance or boyfriend, girlfriend? Do they have debt? Money's a big stressor, and we didn't even talk about kids yet. So research, take your boyfriend, girlfriend serious. Like, you know, ask questions, but watch them. Don't only pay 10% of attention to what they say. Pay 90% attention to what they do. This is why you got to spend years with the person, if marriage is serious. And of course, it's very serious. Another thing I would say is prenup. Get that. Oh, I'm already jumped into. I jumped too much here, but when we talk about prenup, but I was gonna say is I jumped the line here, so forgive me. I'm so excited for you to be married. Um, so the how to find the right person. Opposites attract. That's wrong. That's incorrect. Opposites do not attract. Birds of a feather flock together. That's what you want to look for. So if you're, gregarious and outgoing, and you're a book nerd and you like to sit and watch television, and you don't really talk much, and you like, you love junk food, and you love going to, your house of worship every day, like you got to find someone that's like that. You don't want the opposite of that. You know what I'm saying? So the more things you can line up with that are the same, the better. Don't do the opposites attract thing. Opposites attract. I've dated a lot of women were opposite, didn't work out. I found that, you know, birds of a feather flock together. And by the way, your spouse to be really should be one of your best friends. So put the sex aside, put the kids aside, put the money aside. Like, you love the person, but do you like the person? You die for them, but do you want to have lunch with them? That's really, you have to think about that. So, it's really birds of a feather flock together, because that's what's going to see you through the tough times. That's what's going to see you through to your when you're in your 80s with this person. So, and again, you can say you talked about all this stuff, but nothing beats time, 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 time. Spending years, plural, with that person. And now you may say, but I want to have kids and I ain't got all the time. Okay, well then what's going to be more important to you then? Because if you're going to put having kids first before finding the right spouse, yeah, well, they're a good guy, they're a good girl, yeah, they're good. You can find a good person, but it doesn't mean they're good for you. So if the kid thing is going to, and men have biological clocks too, by the way, sorry. If you're really hell bent on, I gotta have kids, kids are important because I'm getting older, I don't want to be a 70-year-old parent. I gotta have kids. Okay, then you understand the odds are you're not going to find the best person for you. You might find an okay person for you. Like they have a job, they're not an axe murderer, they want kids. Cool, marry that person. You know what I mean? But if you want to find the right spouse for you, kids cannot be the first thing you think of. It has to be, don't put the carriage before the horse. The first thing has to be, I want to find my best friend. I want to find someone I like and love, and I can just be happy with just being around them and not saying a word. We just get each other. That's what you want. Obviously, prerequisites, right? Hard worker, law-abiding citizen, don't do drugs. But I mean, is this person, look at how important, the person has to come first. Then you talk about maybe kids. But if you're like, no, I'm down with just, I got to have the kids. This person has a job. They're law-abiding. We go to the same house of worship. Boom, done. All right. I mean, just know what you get yourself into. And if you both agree to that, then yeah, I mean, but we're talking about finding the best spouse for you. So, but again, discussions are important. It is good to discuss everything up front. I believe the Hasidic Jewish faith has a thing where when young men and women are dating, they'll spend like 10 hours, 12 hours on the first date, or even the second date, spending just hours and hours with each other, discussing everything and anything. And I think that's a good idea. I think that Hasidic Jewish faith is onto something there. Where I disagree with them is you still have to put the time in, though, and they don't do that. They don't date for 4 years. Usually, it's you're dating for weeks or months, maybe a year, and that's it. But at least they're discussing. And I think in the secular world in America, we don't do too much discussing. It's just like, yeah, you want kids? Yeah, so do I. Yeah, great, yeah, great. But you got a job? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and that's our discussion. You know what I mean? Not good. But anyways, nothing beats time. Time. And do your research, meaning meet the family multiple times, get a sense of who the mother, father is, aunts, uncles, grandparents, the kids in the family, all that stuff. That's all going to be very important for you to making your decision because you're marrying the family. So I would also get a prenup if I were you guys. You might be saying, well, prenups are for rich people. No, actually, prenups are not for rich people because if I'm worth $1 billion and I get divorced and now I'm only worth 500 million, so. But if you're only worth a few thousand, you lose a few thousand, you're going to be homeless. So prenups are actually for middle-class people and poor people. Rich people don't need prenups. Again, if I'm worth $1 billion and I get divorced, I lose half, I'm still worth 500 million. I don't need a prenup. People who are middle class need a prenup because you lose half and you're middle class, you're going to be out in the street. So, for men or women, so it's important to have a prenup. And I think it's important to spend those 4 years dating, like if you were going to be going to become a preschool teacher, which is very serious, right? And so marriage is very serious too. And you have to understand, if you have children, children are great. They are a blessing. We love our children, but children are not going to bring you and your spouse closer together. No, I understand. Someone, the kids brought them together, and you watching this, you're so together because of the kids. That's great. Stats don't prove that out, though. Again, we're not talking about emotions here and what you feel. So kids are going to take you apart because what do kids do, right? We're all kids once. A kid's job is to parse mom from dad, is to pit mom against dad because I want this, I want that, I want this. They're kids. That's their job, right? We're all kids once. So kids are not bringing you closer together. They'll make you work hard to provide for them, but it doesn't mean they're bringing you together like, oh my God, baby, I love you so much. Oh my God, so much fun. No. Kids are going to strain your relationship. That's just life, right? And again, we love our children. They are blessings, but it comes at a cost psychologically, spiritually, financially. It costs about low end $30,000 a year to raise each kid for 18 years. So And again, divorce, number one reason for divorce is money. So you have to really consider, like, do we want to be in debt? Do we want to live off our credit cards? Do we have the money to have four kids? Maybe we can only afford three kids, or two kids or one kid. So these are things that I think people don't talk about, and they should. Um, Also, living together. It's one thing to date. It's a whole nother ball of wax when you're living together and you're every single day together. Even best friends, right? You can get on each other's nerves a little bit if you're with. I mean, I have some really dear best friends, and when we go vacationing, in the past we've gotten on each other's nerves a little bit. So marriage is very, very serious, and it should be taken as such. Financially, spiritually, socially, mentally. I don't think we do enough of, and I'm guilty of it, by the way. I'm a shithead, so I can only take responsibility for myself. Marriage is a very, 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 very serious thing, and um, if you can parse away the biological clock, and maybe you'll meet somebody in your 30s or 40s or 50s. Yeah, it's not. Notice how everyone's meeting the love of their life in their 20s and 30s. Yeah, okay. It's a biological clock thing, right? So if you take that aside, and if you're really committed to meeting the right person, you might find the love of your life at 18. You might find them at 58. That's the truth, right? But, we all have to get married in our 20s and 30s, it seems like. So, because I want to be married. Again, that's great, but do your research, take it serious. And if you find the right person, at some point, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And I don't. A marriage is a very sacred, awesome, beautiful thing if you do it right and take it serious, because you have a 50% chance of your automobile blowing up. Take it serious. Check out the car inside and out. Test drive it. Ask questions. And in this respect, you get to test drive the car for more than a year. Be with each other, good times and bad. There's an old saying: you don't know someone until you fight them. You don't know that person until you get into an argument. Because everyone's happy when they're happy. Everyone's happy when they have money and it's sunny out. That's easy. Having sex and having partying, easy, easy, easy. I'm at your house. I stayed over the night. I go home, easy. But can you be with each other when there's death? Can you be with each other when there's money disagreements? Can you be loving and like each other when there's not enough food? Can you be loving and liking each other when no vacation this year, we don't have enough money? Can you be loving and liking when there's an injury? Can you love and like each other when, the person's not looking so great, they gained a few pounds or they lost too much weight or whatever? These are things that only time, and even dating 4 years is not 100% uh, prep for marriage, but it's an 80% prep for marriage. Because you can train all you want for something. Nothing's like the real thing. You can train, 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 train for that big boxing match. It's not the same thing as getting into the boxing ring. And I don't mean to make marriage as a boxing analogy, but whatever, right? You can train, 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 train for this big fishing expedition, but it's not the same thing until you get to the spot in the ocean where you're going to fish. You can train, 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 train for whatever, that big tennis match. Not the same thing until the tennis match is there. You can go on and on with this, right? You can train, 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 train for the big cooking competition, but it's not the same thing until the competition starts, or the day or the life starts. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, you have to take it serious. And if you do that and take the time, years, and get to know each other through good and bad, then yeah, you have a very good chance of finding the right one. Again, thinking, hey, I might find the right one at 20 years old. I might find the right one at 60 though, So keeping that in mind too. Not everybody finds their love of their life in their 20s and 30s, and it seems like they do because everyone's in a rush. They're pushing it, So anyways, and enjoy dating, enjoy meeting people. And, I get it though. If you're one of these people that has your mommy and daddy running your life and you have to have the marriage and the kids, and, you can't do anything about it, right? You got to do what your mommy and daddy says. You're not really an adult. That's fine. Like, know thyself, right? Hey, look, I don't want to do this, but my parents are on my ass. I got to do it. All right, well, you got to do it. But if you do have agency and autonomy in your own life, don't give way to people saying, "When are you getting married?" Don't worry about it. Like just enjoy dating, and through dating, you learn about yourself. You learn about what you like and don't like. And but yeah, so if you do what I tell you, you'll have much better odds of finding the right person. And there's still a risk, right? You could do the 4 years of dating, all the investigating, and you love the person, you like the person, birds of a feather flock together, everything lines up. You get married, and 8 years later you're divorced. That could happen, but life is a risk, right? So you have to understand that too. Life is a risk. Walking across the street is a risk. Getting up in the morning, getting out of your house is a risk. Staying in your house is a risk. The roof can collapse. Whatever. Living is a risk, but you want to mitigate and manage and stack odds the best you can in your favor. And marriage is a very, very serious thing. And if you do it right, it can add joy and health and happiness to your life. If you do it wrong, it can destroy you physically, mentally, spiritually. But if you do it right, your life will be so sweet and so amazing. And that's what I want for you, an amazing, awesome life. And anyways, that's it. Okay. I'm out of here. Congratulations on your marriage. And I do wish you well. All the best. You deserve the best. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ciao.